Old Gun Guy here. Welcome to my video today. It's going to be on an iconic and very widely distributed military pistol and in civilian hands, the p-35 or high power or Browning high power or FN high power. This is not a Browning or an FN. This is a clone manufactured by another company or another arsenal actually. This is a Hungarian one, made by their FEG arsenal. And the model they call this is Papa Juliet Kilo -9 HP, 9 high power. It's basically a identical replica and all the parts interchange with an FN or Browning high power, the original variant, not the double action ones. But I'll go into the pistol in a minute. It fires a 9mm cartridge. I've gone into this cartridge in detail in earlier videos. 9x19, been around since 1902, designed as a smokeless powder cartridge. Hence the case is reasonably very compact compared to the cartridge at the time in the black powder era. As designed, it fired a 115 grain full metal jacket bullet when it came out at about 1150 feet a second. It's the most widely popular handgun cartridge, I would say, in the entire world to this day. Widely distributed, many countries. 355 thousandths of an inch diameter projectile. The useful bullet weights are 90 grains up to about 158 grains. There's some exotic stuff, maybe a 65 grain penetrator bullets, or I forget the actual boutique ammunition maker, but the standard loading for 9mm for most of its life has been 115 grain projectiles, and in the last 20 or 30 years 124 grain. These are actually some of my hand loads. These are loaded to NATO spec. They're 124 grain projectile, which is this little guy here, full metal jacket. It's got quite a thick jacket on it, but it's 124 grains. Loaded to about 1225 to 1250 feet a second. That would be a NATO spec, and that's what I'm going to fire in the shooting demonstrations. Operates at 35,000 psi chamber pressure. Rifle and twist is generally one turn and 16 inches of travel. And that's all I really need to go into that. It's been around since 1902 for a good reason. Due to its compact size, you can fit a lot of cartridges in, standard handgun. But the high power, I'm going to refer to this as the high power, or the p-35, came about as a result of a French military request for a military pistol. And John Browning was still alive, and he was working in FN's factory in Belgium. And this was probably his last design. As he sold the patent in 1911 to Colt, he had to design a new pistol, so he came out with a few different design features. Like the 1911 is a single action semi-automatic pistol. It means when you pull the trigger, that won't actuate the hammer. Hammer has to be cocked, and the gun has to be charged for it to fire. But he passed away suddenly, I believe a heart attack, in 1926 over there, and his associate engineer, Diadani Salve, I think that's how to pronounce his name, advanced the design and prototypes over the next 8 years until they're ready to release this pistol in 1935. And ironically, the French military, the specs that they wanted was a compact pistol, easy to disassemble and take apart, reliable, robust, and this meets all them criteria. It's all steel handgun, frame and slide. Had to weigh no more than 1 kilogram, which is 2.2 pounds. I believe this weighs 33 ounces, the high powers. So just a shade over 2 pounds. Had to be able to kill a man at 50 meters. That was standard. 55 yards. And basically, I think they were steering the submissions to the 9mm cartridge, the 9x19, which had the capabilities, you know, as far as mass of the bullet. They were talking about a 120 grain bullet at 1100 feet a second as their criteria, and the 9mm Parabellum or Luger falls soundly into that category. It was released in 1935. The French military did not adopt it, but many other militaries did. Advanced for its time. The other requirement the French had was 10 round or more magazine capacity, and the high power has a standard capacity of 13 shot magazines. They're double stack, single feed. That means they stack side by side, you know, inside the magazine, but it's a single feed point. As opposed to maybe a submachine gun magazine, double stack, double feed, or like an AR-15 magazine, double stack, double feed, single feed, double stack. The pistols at the time, say the p-38 Walther and the p-08 Luger, they had 8 round magazines. The 1911 had a 7 round magazine, so this was a big step ahead, 13 of the 9mm. One in a pipe is almost twice the capacity of the you know, the Luger or the Walther p-38. The lines in the gun are very nicely styled. The iconic scalloping in the front of the slide, you know, step down, is very, you know, very attractive. A bit of a rounded grip, fits the hand good. Just got pretty decent ergonomics that way. Browning was the main Browning, FN, which owns Browning to this day, was the main manufacturer. As the winds of war were stirring in the late 30s, and then obviously the spring of 1940, Germany invaded the Low Countries. It looks like Belgium was going to fall, so some of the engineers and the design drawings and plans fled to the United Kingdom and then off to Canada in the Inglis factory in Canada to build the p-35 for the Allies. The Germans overran the FN factory in Belgium and put these into production for their service. They had a designation, I don't know it offhand. I actually have to look in my old reference here, Sergeant Moyer's Foreign Weapons Special Handbook there. Let's get the Belgian M35, P-35. Yeah, I think he had what's known in Germany. I don't see it offhand, but anyway, it's good reference. You know, basically field strip, and the receiver has a 4-inch barrel. And like I said, this is a direct clone of a FN, the earlier models. All the parts from this will interchange with a Browning or an FN produced pistol, and I have done that in the past. Swapped some, a friend of mine with a FN made Browning. It's actually a Nazi era Browning. The parts interchange. A friend of mine has the tangent rear sight. It goes to 500 meters. It slides and has a slot for a shoulder stock. But it has the Waffenamps from Nazi German production when he did it at the FN plant, the captured FN plant in Belgium. But all the parts interchange. Go over the controls real quick. Like I said, this is unlicensed variant. Other countries produced them, India, Israel, this is Hungary. And the story with this pistol is they were importing these in the country about 25 years ago. And they were very reasonably priced. They were about $280, when a Browning version of this was going $700 or $800. And I must say the fit and finish is superb. The bluing is superb. Nice walnut stocks. And it's just a really nice handgun for the price. I would liken it today Browning produces pistol for 82 years. I think they're going to start it up again, from what I understand, but they stopped in 2018. So 1935 to 2018. And then there's still a demand for these pistols. Springfield Armory started making a clone of this. I think the Turkish companies in Turkey, teases, and they're making a clone of this. And I think Century Arms has one of the Turkish companies making a clone that they've decided to import. So it's pretty interesting. Later variances with double action, single action, they altered the guts, but the growth of controls, it's single action semi-automatic pistol. So I have to put a magazine in because one of the features is it has a magazine disconnect. So unless the magazine's inserted, you can't drop the hammer. It's got a thumb-mounted magazine release on the left side of the frame. This is your slide stop lever right here. If I draw the slide back, you can lock it. If I had the magazine, the magazine would actuate and lock on the last round. You could drop the slide by depressing that lever, and it has safety mounted on the left side of the frame. And this is one of the complaints of the original ones. Later variants, well, people had gunsmiths modify them. The safety is very hard to manipulate. This little tiny safety here. The slide lever. And there's no magazine in, so the gun will not fire. You put a magazine in the gun, and now you can fire the pistol. That has caused a lot of complaints. People have different views. I prefer no magazine disconnect in my pistol, because if the magazine's out of the pistol's basically useless. If you're in some kind of tight spot and you change your magazines out, or you drop your magazine, you still have a round in the chamber, you got a useful gun. But if you got a magazine disconnect, you just have a club. So, but some people prefer that. It's pretty simple to take apart. Like I said, this is a Hungarian variant, but everything is identical to the original Browning design. FEG in Hungary makes these, made these, and you will see them knocking around on in a gun show or used gun shop. You might run across one of these. They're very finely made pistols. They're not junk. They're very faithful clone to the original p-35. 50 different countries or 50 different militaries, and most of the NATO militaries had this at one time or another, this pistol. The Israelis, the IDF, the service pistol. Something like 90 countries, not just their military, but police forces. Most widely distributed, far more than in 1911. Across the world, that is, anyway. And they're very fine pistols. There's two negatives that, it's got a ring hammer, a little rings with a hammer here. But when you fire this, if you get big hands, you do get a little hammer bite sometimes. After you shoot it for maybe 40, 50 rounds, you might get a little red rash spot there, and that bothers somebody. Depending on how you hold the pistol, I always hold it high up on a grip. So that's just the way I shoot. So if it starts bothering me, I put a glove on. I shoot it with a glove. But that's the one thing. The other thing is the safety is very hard to manipulate. You gotta kind of use a lot of force to shove it up. Coming off, it ain't so bad. Goes up. It's got a little hook on it. Hooks into the slide. And, that's how it goes. Frame mounted safety. 1911's got a much better safety. Other variants are custom made variants. They enlarge the safety, so it's a lot easier to manipulate. You can carry it, what's called cocked and locked condition 1, round in the chamber, hammer back with the safety on, like you could in 1911. There's 3 conditions if you never heard the term. Condition 1, round in the chamber, weapon's ready to fire, cocked, and the safety's on, cocked and locked. Condition 2 would be around in the chamber, the hammer down. To depress this, you'd have to hold the hammer and let it forward easy to the half cock notch. That would be condition 2. And condition 3 is an empty chamber, hammer down. And that's how the Israelis carried these pistols, the IDF. I was actually in a shooting school with 2 of them years ago in my police career. The federal shooting school run by the FBI. There's 2 IDF guys, and they were carrying high powers, and they had an interesting technique. When they drew the pistol, they charged it in one motion. But if I remember later in the summary, I'll try and demonstrate that, or if I remember outside. But that's it. The safety is the biggest thing that you could improve. If I were to carry this as my primary carry gun, yeah, I would have the safety modified, a reasonable safety put on here. But I like it just original as it is. Take it apart. It's pretty simple. You leave the magazine in. You rack the slide back. Okay, that helps you press the slide back a little bit because there's. I'm gonna point to this here. You got 2 notches in the frame. One here, one here. This is the safety notch. And this is the takedown notch. It's cut into the frame, almost identical, so this little hook fits in there. So what you're going to do is line up the little hook. Oh, I can do this way with my hand. And you push it up so it engages the slide. And once you do that, you pull the magazine out. This is the slide stop and slide lock. It's also the action bar that can actuates the pistol. You got to wiggle a little bit and push out and pull this bar out. Now you can hold the slide because on the spring tension. Push this little safety lever down, run the slide off the frame. Everything you need to clean the pistol is there. That's what the slide looks like. I'll show you how this engages. The 1911 has a swing link. This is a different design. It's been copied like modern polymer pistols like a Glock have a variant of this. It cams the barrel down a little bit. It doesn't rely on a link, swinging to pull the barrel down. But that little hole is where this little action rod goes through. Slide stop bar. The spring comes out, and then your barrel comes out. And it's got locking grooves like the 1911 on top of the barrel, and corresponding locking grooves in the slide. And if I can line this up right, the barrel basically does this. When it hits that locking block, the slot, it cams down, unlocks from the slide goes rearward and cycles the gun. Compresses the spring, ejects the spent round, picks up a fresh round, loads it in the chamber. But that's the action, the genius of John Browning. So that's all you need to maintain this pistol. Pretty simple. Put the barrel back in the slide. Put the guide rod back in the pistol. It's got a little slot, a corresponding slot in the bottom, machined into the barrel, so that fits in there. All right, you got that. Put the slide back on the frame. Bring it all the way. My bad. You gotta reverse this. No. That's the correct way. I had it upside down. Slide on the frame. You push the safety up into that notch, hold it back, and then you work your slide stop and slide release back into the pistol. It's got a little detent in there. You're gonna kind of wiggle it to get it all the way up. Okay, battery croaked on the camera there. I had to swap it out. Yes, most widely distributed military pistol in the world today. Still in active use by some, quite a few militaries. I believe even the British SAS use these. Well, they did. They probably switched to the SIG now. Some famous uses you might have seen on TV with this pistol is Saddam Hussein is always on a balcony shooting a Browning high power up in the air at some kind of celebration. And sadly, Pope John Paul II, assassination attempt on his life, the Turkish guy, I think his name was Ali, shot him with a Browning high power. You know, just a tool. In the hands of good, it does good. In the hands of evil, in the hands of good, it protects. In the hands of evil, it does evil. It's just a tool. Like I said, its original design was a, it's a military sidearm, and it's a superb one. 90-year-old design, but you could, you could carry this with a clear head. It'll defend your life, provide you practice, and you do the manual arms with this particular pistol, and develop the muscle memory, because they're all different, all idiosyncratic. I'm going to do my shooting demonstrations. I'll do the chronograph, just to show that these are NATO loads. I'll do an accuracy test, 5 or 10 rounds offhand at a Q target or IPSC target from 20 yards. I do a recoil comparison, this versus a 22 semi-auto pistol, close up on the handgun. I'll shoot some steel plates with it. I'll do the ballistic pendulum, 22 long rifle, 2 shots, 9mm, 2 shots. Like I do, it shows just comparative energy, handgun rounds hitting the 8-inch steel plates. I'll plink a few steel plates just to show the pistol in operation, cycling, and I'll do a thermal effects test. It's 18 degrees out, so I'll fill the water jugs up in here and run them out, and it's an analog for a human or an animal target. 6 inches of water, 3/4 inch piece of plywood, simulating heavy bone, another 12 inches of water. I usually throw another piece of plywood there, and then another 6 inches of water behind it, 4 water jugs. And find out how good the 124 grain NATO style ball does. And I'll come back for the summary. So let me pause this and we'll get to shooting. I'm gonna do 5 shots out of the chronograph. 124 grain full metal jacket, NATO spec. It's loaded a little on the warm side. These are hand loads, but it should duplicate the NATO load. I'm gonna do 5 shots. I got the other camera on the chronograph. I got just enough sunlight, I think, out to for the chronograph to work properly. So we get to it. Our Hungarian high power. $12.21, $12.25, $12.30, $12.09, and $12.51. I'll go over them numbers in the summary. But that's what you expect out of NATO spec 124 grain ammunition, 1225 to 1250 feet a second out of a 4-inch barrel pistol. And I'm going to do the comparative recoil test next with the 22 target pistol. $12.21, $12.25. 12.30, 12.09,
and 1251.
Close-up comparative recoil. The base is always a 22 Ruger Mark II 22 long rifle pistol, 40 grain projectiles, 124 grain NATO spec projectiles out of our Hungarian high power. 2 shots each. Let me just move the camera up and get it on my hand. Alright, first up, the Ruger. Looks like it's on there. Now the Hungarian high power. Not bad at all. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to do a little 20-yard offhand accuracy or potential accuracy at a IPSC target. I got 2 aiming points on it. I'm going to fire 10 rounds from a Hungarian high power here with the 124 grain full metal jacket. 5 shots at the top aiming point, 5 shots at the bottom aiming point. I got to set the other camera running, and hopefully I think I'm on camera. Top target first. And I'm going to do the bottom target. An extra round in there, and that'll be our group is nice and tight. This is me with my eyes wandering off the sights, looking at the cameras. That's what happens when you lose attention. They're still in a bread box though. That'll be it for our little accuracy demonstration.
And I'm going to do the bottom target.
Do the comparative energy test. I get the other camera focused on the plates. 8-inch steel plates. Yeah, 8-inch. Center plate will be 22 long rifle, 2 shots, and then the 147 grain full metal jacket NATO spec 9mm 9x19 loads on the right plate. Put my ears on. I get the 22 first. That's 2. Now the high power, Hungarian high power. And on the other camera records the energy imparted. Obviously 9mm got a lot more zip than a 22. Let me shut these cameras off, put these pistols down.
That's 2. Now the high power, Hungarian high power. And on the other camera records the energy imparted. Obviously 9mm got a lot more zip than a 22.
Okay, I'm gonna I got 10 rounds. I'm just gonna fire at the plates about 25 yards away. Just to show mainly the pistol cycling. The other camera's on the overall scene. So what I hit or miss will be recorded there. I'll try the 50 yard. I'll try 100. Underneath and over the top. But mainly it's just to show the pistol cycling and operating. And they are very reliable. Very nice pistols to shoot. Recoil's mild, as you expect out of an all-steel handgun. I'm going to do the terminal effects test next. Can't talk in a cold. Jugs of water, 3/4 inch piece of plywood, witness board. I'll have a 6-inch jug of water, 3/4 inch piece of plywood, 6-inch jug of water, 6-inch jug of water. I think I'll use 4 jugs and a piece of plywood at the end, 3/4. And we'll see what the penetration 124 grain full metal jacket NATO ball is. So let me set that up.
I'm gonna I got 10 rounds. I'm just gonna fire at the plates about 25 yards away. Just to show mainly the pistol cycling. The other camera's on the overall scene. So what I hit or miss will be recorded there. I'll try the 50 yard. I'll try 100. Underneath and over the top. But mainly it's just to show the pistol cycling.
Okay, back from my terminal effects test. 124 grain full metal jacket, NATO spec ammo, about 1250 feet a second. I have 4 water jugs. This is like an analog for a human or a animal target. 6 inches of water, 3/4 inch piece of plywood. They're all marked and numbered. Another 12 inches of water, 2 jugs there. I don't have a witness board, a clean one. I have to go dig one out. Another 3/4 inch piece of plywood after number 3, between 3 and 4. There's previous hits on it, but they're marked, so I'll be able to discern which one is what. And a couple pieces of 3/4 inch plywood behind. I'm going to set this other camera on the close-up. I think it's running in slow motion, and I'll go. All right. Let me pause this and then autopsy. What do you expect out of a full metal jacket, 9mm? Entered here, first jug, reversed it, split the jug, exited here. 3/4 inch piece of plywood, went through there, saw on a flip, blew a big chunk of wood out of the back. The jug that was after the plywood went in here. Not a lot of, because it's not expanding, it's just drilling through the jugs. Exited there. Third jug, entrance, exit. It's veering off to the right. Struck this last piece of plywood right here. You see the bullet going sideways. Bounced off on the forest floor somewhere. So with that, I'll go back inside and clean this all up and go over it in a summary. Okay, back for the summary of our little shooting demonstration of this iconic pistol, this Hungarian goulash version of the Browning high power. Just kidding, it's a very nice pistol. The bluing is flawless, and the fit and finish, you know, and the workmanship is really flawless. If you run across one of these, you know, you might get a good deal, because people say, "Oh, Hungarian high power," but it's very well made and it shoots very well. In the intro, I forgot to do the trigger pull test. I got the trigger pull gauge. I don't have to put a magazine in there. Cock the hammer. But you got about 1/3 of an inch of take up before you hit the wall. And then it breaks fairly clean. But I measured it, 8 3/4, close to 9 pounds. So it's not. I think that's a function of the disconnector also, the magazine disconnect. It makes the trigger pull a little. Yeah, 8.5 pounds. So not too bad. The standard capacity for the high power is 13 shot magazine. One of the pipe is 14. They do make 15 round magazines. That there's a Metgar, you know, if you want 2 extra rounds. If you're in a harsh kingdom, they also make restricted magazines, 10 rounds. You can obtain, but the before I even forget, when I was in shooting school, you know, one of the many I went to years ago, I was in the police department. I was in a tactical unit. But there's some IDF guys, and they carry these high powers. And I don't have a high power holster. Basically, their drill was, they were quite quick because they practice it. Like everything, you got to practice what you carry. They would draw the pistol, and one motion, draw and charge it. They would carry a chamber empty, loaded magazine, and hammer down, condition 3. So what they would do is draw the pistol, one motion, charge it, and right up on target. So if I was to do that quick, that's how the IDF guys carried them. Utilized them, and they were quite quick shooting and putting it into action. That's probably how I would use it if I was carrying this, because the safety, unless I had a custom safety on this thing, a little too hard to manipulate. I can, you know, bring it down and get extended safety. That's what definitely would have to be put on this gun if I were to carry this. Trigger pull, went through the shooting test. The chronograph, I forgot. I could pull it up. Okay, back. I was going to try and do it on the phone, but as soon as I switched the screen and shut the camera off, those high-tech gadgets. 5 shots over the chronograph. My 124 grain NATO spec FMJ hand loads. The velocity averaged 1,227 feet a second, which translates to energy foot-pounds 415. The extreme spread was only 42 feet a second from the fastest to the slowest shot, and the standard deviation was 14. That is a good hand load. For those of you that hand load, 124 grain FMJ projectile, 7.7 grains of Alliant Blue Dot. I'm old enough where it used to be Hercules Blue Dot. That's a long time ago. But Alliant Blue Dot, MagTech primers, overall length 1.115 inches, and I wrote 1250 on the box. It floats around there, 1225 to 1250. Did the comparative recoil test. Recoil is quite manageable in a steel pistol that weighs 2 pounds. It's not heavy. It's they make aluminum frame, or they have made aluminum frame versions of this over the decades. But this is a steel frame version, and it's really not unwieldy, and it's, pleasant to shoot. This is the magazine that came with the pistol. It really isn't finished except for the floor plate they blued, but the body has got some type of parkerizing on it. The FEG arsenal. Like I said, even though FN, I believe they're going to start production again, but you get third-party manufacturers pumping them out. Springfield Armory and some of the Turkish factories in Turkey, and some of them factories put out pretty good product, pretty good, pretty decent firearms. So I haven't seen a Turkish high power, but I've seen a 1911 high power made by them. It's pretty well made. Did the ballistic pendulums, 22 versus the 9mm, the 8-inch plates. You see the relative energies imparted to the steel. Did an offhand accuracy target, 20 yards, 10 shots, 5 and 5. I made 2 aiming points on this dipstick target here, IDBA or whatever you want to call it. First 5, good group for 20 yards offhand. Couldn't ask for better. I started out well here, but in the cold, these cameras tend to just shut off on their own, and I got distracted by the other camera that was focused on this, and I drifted up. 2 shots there. It is shooting a little high from the point of aim. I was aiming dead center here, so it is printing high. And with each load or each ammunition you use in any specific pistol, that's something to keep in mind. It's going to have different points of impact. This has fixed sights. There are all models with adjustable sights. This is a fixed sight version. Did the 10 shots offhand. My range is rough. It's big. The forest floor is just filled with leaves and twigs and stuff. So when you miss something, if you're shooting at distance, it's hard to see the impact. Sometimes you can see them, sometimes you can't in the dirt, and you can adjust your shot. But I was shooting at the 50-yard torso, and I missed it. I think I was shooting over it, but I was unclear with that. If I had a range where there was just dirt, I would see the dirt kick up in the distance. I know if I went high or low. The 100-yard plate I can, because the plate's almost on the ground. I skipped one into, just below it, and the other one I saw it hitting the leaves in the back, so I shot over it. But that's just me, and we're just demonstrating the function and reliability of the pistol. Terminal effects test, it's an analog for a human or a animal. Full metal jacket obviously is not a good defensive load, but they do penetrate. Hit the first jug of water. It started turning to the left. I think in the video I said it was going off to the right. It was going to the left, but that's just my brain freezing up in the cold there. Went through that jug of water. You can see it twisted. It wasn't a clean hole in the plywood. Blew out a big chunk of plywood, 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and that simulates the heavy bone. Went through the next jug, jug number 2 and jug number 3, and it hit the 3/4 inch piece of plywood that was right behind jug number 3, put a dent in it, and landed on the forest floor somewhere. Lost to the to the woods. I may find it again. Sometimes I do. I'm wandering back in. I just happen to kick something. I'll find a projectile. But the iconic pistol, nice pistol to shoot. If you want an old steel handgun, a polymer. Some people just don't like the polymer handguns. These are nice, elegant firearms. And 9mm is one of the least expensive, centerfire defensive cartridges due to its popularity and volume of manufacture. So you can, practice with it, shoot it. Like all firearms is a tool, you know, you can plink with it, you target shoot with it, you can defend your life with it. Does it make a good home defense pistol? Absolutely. It's a good defensive pistol. It was designed as a military pistol. In popular culture, because it popped into my head when I started doing this, when I was a kid, there was a movie, I think it was the early 70s, Serpico, Al Pacino. I think before he played The Godfather, or maybe in between. Good movie, true story. And I read the book too, you know, later on. Frank Serpico was a New York City narcotics cop, but he was an honest one, and he was in a very corrupt operation. You know, they're all taking drug dealers' money and cops he was working with. And towards the end of the movie, he knew he had no backup. So in New York City, they carried revolvers. So he walks into a gun store and buys a Browning high power, and that's what he carries with him as a backup, unauthorized backup. But you know, you do what you got to do. And in the famous scene where he gets shot, and the actual cop, Serpico, said the scene is extremely accurate. His partner he's working with just let him get shot. He just stood back. His arm was trapped in a door. He's trying to force his way into this drug dealer's apartment. Two Spanish guys trapped his arm, and he's trying to get his high power up to defend himself, and they shot him in the face with a .22 pistol. I think it was a Colt Woodmaster. I can't picture a Spanish drug dealer with a Colt Woodmaster target pistol, but that's what they had in the movie, and I think in real life. So it's probably stolen, but you know, Serpico survived. It's a good movie from the period, you know, 70s, the wild 70s there. But that was my cultural reference for the, you know, as far as the famous use of it in a movie I can think of offhand. With that, I think I'll conclude this video. To film these, the conditions are pretty harsh out here. So I'll do these when I can, but I felt like doing the high power today. So I got to shoot it, have a little fun with it. Plus, even when I wasn't, you know, on camera, I was plinking away with it afterwards. Because it's an enjoyable pistol to shoot. With that, I'm Old Gun Guy. If you like the content, like and subscribe. And if you got any comments or questions, you know, put them in the comments, and if I get notified, I'll get back to you. With that, have a good evening.